I froze right there on my porch. 20 HOA members sprawled across my pasture like they owned the joint. I mean, blankets everywhere, champagne popping, Bluetooth speakers blaring pop songs that probably hadn't seen a barn in their life. And right smack in the middle, her, Karen, Queen of Willowbrook, HOA president, lover of rules and everybody else's business but her own. She waves, that smug grin pasted across her face, and hollers, "It's community day, farmer. Don't mind us." Yeah, but I did mind. Because that community meadow was 40 acres of my sweat and sunburn. Not some HOA playground. They hadn't knocked, hadn't called, just waltzed through my gates like they were on a wine tour. Somebody even chucked a beer can in my feed trough. Blood boiled hotter than the July sun, I'll tell you that. I remember glancing past the chaos. Way out where my herd was pacing, 35 bulls, big as boxcars, snorting and kicking up dust like they could feel the intrusion in their bones. City folks wanted the country experience, huh? Well, buckle up. They were about to get it. Unfiltered, untamed, and maybe a little more authentic than they'd bargained for. But hey, before I serve up this mess, tell me where you're watching from and what time it is. Curious how far stories like this can travel. And if you've ever had a Karen stomp across your line, go ahead and hit subscribe. You're in the right place. I wasn't born with much patience. Life on a farm grinds it into you. Mornings so cold your breath freezes. Gates so stubborn you cuss them like an old friend. Animals that don't give a rip about your schedule. But patience and tolerance. Now, those are cousins, not twins. There's a line between them. A real, honest fence line. And that's where this trouble started. Name's Cole, 52, widower, last patent still standing on these 40 acres my dad cleared back when men measured days by sweat and coffee. My house is a squat little thing, white paint peeling, tin roof singing every time it rains. The barn, shoot, it's older than I am, all silvered wood, steel trusses, and that deep, sweet smell of hay. 2 pastures out back, shaded by a handful of bur oaks. That's where my pride lives. 35 Angus and Charolais crosses, muscle stacked on muscle, mean as they want to be if you get stupid with them. Most days, they're gentle, like oversized dogs, really. Unless somebody stirs them up with loud colors or bad energy. On the north side of my fence, that's where Willowbrook Estates mushroomed up. Overnight, honey-colored houses, perfect lawns, SUVs lined up like parade floats, and an HOA that writes rules for everything from mailbox height to the color of your front door. My farm's been here generations, but the minute that first cul-de-sac hit my fence, I felt it. The chill, like a shadow on a sunny day. Some folks waved, others just kept walking, and Karen? Well, she looked at my barn like it was a mud stain on her fancy rug. Funny thing, never got her last name. She'd only introduce herself as Karen, HOA president, like it was royalty. Mid-40s, tanned year-round. Blonde hair so stiff it could block wind, nails like switchblades, voice that carries for miles. First time we met, she leaned over my fence and said, "If you joined the HOA, we could modernize this. Rustic aesthetic." I told her I liked my rustic just fine. That was 3 years ago. In those years, Karen found ways to make my farm her personal project. Called code enforcement about my barn. Lights during calving. Filed noise complaints when I started the tractor at sunrise. Even left a note on my antique Ford asking me to move it for the property values. I filed each note in the circular cabinet under my sink. Carried on. We got into a rhythm. Her nipping, me ignoring. Until she got bold. Brought the HOA kids on a nature walk through my south gate. Left it unlatched. I caught it before the bulls did. Swapped out the latch for a heavy chain and padlock. Put up more signs, private property. No trespassing. Livestock grazing. Enter at your own risk. Karen called it unwelcoming. I said, that's the idea. Property lines aren't metaphors. They're not about vibes. They're boundaries. Where I grew up, you cross a line without asking. You deal with the consequences. My old man always said, ask first, step second. Keeps calves off the highway and people out of trouble. Week before this picnic disaster, I caught wind of something brewing on the Willowbrook Facebook group. My neighbor, call him Hank, rents the cul-de-sac house, drinks beer with me sometimes. He'd screenshot the HOA's posts and text him over. Community meadow. Sunday, bring wine, family photos by the barn. and Karen herself chimes in. Don't worry, it's all arranged. Arranged with who? Sure wasn't me. I walked my fence Friday morning, like I do every week, boots chewing up the ground, checking every post and staple. Sky was high and blue as a prayer. Bulls hanging in the east pasture, lazy as kings. City folks say bulls are unpredictable. Nah, they have boundaries, clear as day. Cross those with chaos or noise, and you'll get a reminder that they outweigh you by 1.5 tons. Saturday morning, I hit town for salt blocks and coffee. Grady's feed. The clerk there, girl with a nose ring and boots older than she is, asks, "You see those HOA ladies planning a party?" I just grunt. "Got cameras?" she says. People act different when they know they're on film, or worse. She's not wrong. On the way home, I passed the Willowbrook clubhouse, Karen out front, bossing around tables and banners. Community meadow picnic in big, bubbly letters. That word, meadow, grates on me. It ain't a meadow. It's sweat, diesel, wire, fence posts. Meadow's just what you call it when you never paid the bill. Spent my afternoon cleaning the barn, not for company, just to keep order. By nightfall, I sat down, weighed my options, called the sheriff. He's an old friend, would send a cruiser and folks would grumble, but they'd be back next weekend, braver. Sue, I could build a lawsuit tall enough to cast shade on their board meeting, but lawsuits eat time, and Karen would turn it into a community art project. Or teach. Not with fists, not with fury, just with the facts of nature. Keep it lawful, keep it safe, make it unforgettable. Didn't sleep much. By sunrise, I saw sneaker prints by the south gate, scouted, of course. Wiped them away. Called Miguel, my pasture manager. Move the boys to east. He knows my tone. 35 bulls, shoulder to shoulder behind the east fence, like a football team on the goal line. I checked every gate, except the main one. Left the chain through, but the lock in my pocket. Gate would swing if I needed. Not a trap, a lesson. Mounted 2 cameras, one in the oak, one in the hay shed. If this landed in court, I wanted there it is. Not, he said, she said. By 10, I hear music, pop songs echoing. Hank texts, they're bringing a bubble machine and a DJ. I shake my head, dust off my boots, lean on the porch. First SUVs show up, slow parade, folks unloading tents and speakers. I get that steady, cold feeling, the one you get before a hard job. Karen, white sundress. Big hat, clipboard, megaphone, naturally. She beams. Welcome to our community meadow. People cheer. Kids tumble. Blankets pop up like dandelions. Behind the east fence, my bulls raise their heads. I whisper, hold the line, boys. Watch the crowd pour through the gap they'd made weeks back. Mesh pushed aside. I memorize faces, don't forget a violation, I file them. Bulls huff, paw dirt. Karen tips her hat, mouths. Try and stop me. I don't plan to. I plan to let her stop herself. Noon sun sits like a hot coin in the sky, perfume and grilled sausages drifting on the breeze. My pasture has turned into their private country club. 20, maybe 30 people, parked in neat rows, blocking my service road. White tent, gold streamers, Taylor Swift blasting. Karen standing in the middle like royalty, glass of rose in hand, shouting into her megaphone. Thanks for supporting our neighborhood harmony. I about choke on my coffee. Harmony, sure. I walk the long way around, Southgate, past the bulls. Call out, afternoon, folks. Mind telling me what you're doing on my pasture? Karen's got that HOA smile. We're just enjoying community. Spirit, didn't you get the notice? You mean the Facebook invite for my land? Well, technically, this borders Willowbrook property. It's all open, right? Except for the fence you cut, I say. Some folks freeze, others laugh nervously. A man mumbles, come on, buddy, it's just a picnic. On private land, that's trespassing, I say. Karen rolls her eyes. No one's getting hurt. We're appreciating your farm. Most people would kill for this much engagement. I pull out my phone, start recording. You're all here without permission. Karen smirks. It's public land. You might want to check your maps before you say that. Just then, a kid runs through the shallow creek, splashing toward the bulls. Bulls don't like confusion, don't like shrieking kids waving. Red balloons. Karen, I say, you're upsetting my animals. You need to go. She waves it off. They're fine. I turn and walk back, uploading video footage. HOA evidence, labeled and dated. Miguel drops by later, watches the footage, shakes his head. They really think they can do that? They just did, I say. What you gonna do? Let him hang themselves. That night, sleep doesn't come easy. Next morning, plan's simple. Tighten every lock, except the north gate, the same one Karen's group used. Leave it just wide enough for a few curious bulls. Fill troughs near the east pasture. Let the herd drift close to the action. That afternoon, Karen posts a photo collage. Her in front of my barn, kids with my dogs, someone sitting on my tractor. Thanks to Farmer Cole for letting us use his land. Comments pile up. Make it annual. Love our farmer neighbor. I'm not chill. I'm calculating. Next time, there's a welcoming committee of bulls waiting. By Saturday, I'm ready. Cameras rolling. North gate set. 35 bulls, restless and massive. Karen arrives in her Mercedes, event bigger than before. Food truck, bounce house, banners. Speeches about unifying property lines. I walk out, flip the north gate latch open, step back, and whistle. 35 bulls turn, snorting, pounding the ground. Karen laughs. They're harmless. I smile. Not anymore. Bulls break into a run, ground trembling, picnic tables rattling, crowd screaming. Chaos, pure and simple. Karen bolts for the gate, finds it chained. Open it, she screams. I lean on the fence, calm as ever. You said it was community property. Enjoy your community. Bulls don't touch anyone, just charge close enough to send a message. Dust, food, champagne. Pride, all trampled. Karen stumbles past me, covered in mud. You could have killed us. You said it was your meadow. My bulls were just mingling with the neighbors. The rest of her crew limps away. Coolers and egos in shambles. Next morning, sheriff shows up, thick mustache, easy grin. Karen says you tried to murder her with livestock. He's already watched the footage. Looks like you just opened a gate. No charges, but he needs copies for the file. I hand him a flash drive. Word spreads fast. Local paper calls it Bulls of Justice. HOA chat melts down. Karen's board votes her out. A written apology arrives from the new president, Dan, a quiet, decent guy. Thank you for setting boundaries, literally and figuratively. Use the lawsuit money to put up a steel fence. New automatic gate, big sign, private property. No trespassing. Bulls still live here. Folks wave again, bring baked goods, talk about weather and markets. Karen? Rumor has it she moved 2 towns. Over. Someone sent me an anonymous letter. You humiliated me. You won't scare me forever. I pinned it on my fridge, next to the official apology. Peace returned, not by fighting fire with fire, but by reminding folks that boundaries matter. A month later, the pasture's green again. Grass coming back, scars fading. Every now and then, someone snaps a photo of the sign or asks for the bull's side of the story. I tell them, boundaries aren't about aggression, they're about respect. My wife used to say, fences protect good neighbors from bad ones. She was right. One night, I poured a drink, sat on my porch, and wrote, respect is the only crop that never fails. You plant it with boundaries, water it with patience, and harvest it with dignity. Cross that line, and you reap what you sow. Diesel, my lead bull, let out a long bellow under the stars. Good work, partner, I told him. For the first time in ages, I felt the land breathe easy. So, if you've ever had someone cross your line, remember, don't fight crazy with crazy. Stand your ground, trust the fence, and sometimes, let the bulls do the talking. Drop your story in the comments. Tell me about your own run-ins with folks who can't respect a boundary. And hey, don't forget to subscribe. Here, justice doesn't knock twice. Sometimes, it comes charging through the gate. With 35 bulls,